So what I'm about to tell you is almost like the start of a joke. Have you heard the one about the ferry company that doesn't have any ferries? Yes, unfortunately, this is the latest mess of Brexit that the Tories have managed to get us into. They have somehow managed to hire a ferry company in the event of a no deal to provide extra ferries, but the company has no ferries. And it doesn't stop there, because the next thing someone found out was when they visited their website, they had copied their terms and conditions from a takeaway website. Literally, the terms and conditions, remember, for a ferry company, said that customers should check their food before handing over their money for their meal. I am at a loss for words, and it gets even better because it turns out the person who owns this ferry company was a donor to the Tory party, and I think, if I remember correctly, he's also the brother of a Tory Member of Parliament, which, as far as I'm concerned, needs to be looked at. And this is one of the things I've said, there needs to be an ethics committee which is separate from Parliament itself, and is basically randomly selected from a bunch of juries and lawyers, and any sort of foul play like this where something like this should happen should be immediately shut down. One of the things I think there should definitely be a rule: if you donate to a political party, then you are not allowed to have anything to do with government contracts. I think that's a fair enough rule. If you donate to a political party, your business that you are part of, or any businesses that you may be involved with, are not allowed to have, any access to government contracts. I think that's pretty fair. It has certainly stopped this mess mucking about, I'll tell you that lot. And one of the things that I think it was Grayling that came out and said, when this fact was brought up to this ferry company, remember, only has 3 months to try and secure, I think it is like 60 ferries to support cross-channel ferries in the event of a no deal. He said that this was an example of government supporting start-up businesses. Right. This is gone beyond a joke, quite frankly. This should be absolutely embarrassing for the Tories, and quite rightly so, and they should remember this. This is just completely embarrassing. But one of the things that is that I said there's an example of startup, government supporting startup businesses. The guy who owns this is already a millionaire. I very much doubt he needs help starting up a business from the government. See, one of the things the government should be doing and helping people start up is the exact programme that the European Union had been funding in my hometown. It had basically been a programme to provide people with money, and it brought in expertise of people who had run businesses to help them start up. This this organisation in Barnsley has managed to set up at least 600 plus businesses in Barnsley that did not exist before. Some have proved to be incredibly successful. You might have heard of them. They were on Dragon's Den. They're called Wool Couture. They've gone from one woman running that business to they now employ something, I think it's like 25 people. That's a multi-million-pound business now in Barnsley that hires now 25 people. Thank you, European Union. But, of course, the government isn't interested in this, and unfortunately the funding for the project runs out after 2020. So, after 2020, this really successful project that, again, has set up multi-million-pound businesses like Wool Couture, as well as 600-plus businesses that now exist, no longer is going to be there. So, you know, that's a perfect example of the government helping to support startup businesses. Good one, guys, because remember, you voted for this to happen. Remember, Brexiteers, this is an example of when you say, oh, what have the European Union ever done for us? This is the example I always bring up. And they always go, pfft. Even, I once phoned in, as I've said this before, I phoned in right at the end of Nigel Farage's show, must have been last year. I'm pretty sure it was last year. And I said the same thing, and his response was, so what? And I'm like, this, you know, people say Nigel Farage is a man of the people. But to say so what to a town that has suffered so much, to a town that has been, you know, the butt of all economical jokes in this country ever since the miners, ever since they closed down all the pits in this area and has suffered complete and utter economic hardships, to have a programme that has encouraged people and given people the confidence and the knowledge and the skills to be able to start their own businesses. The response to that, so what? It is very clear Nigel Farage and the Tory party have no interest in supporting small businesses in this country. That's what we must learn. Unless you happen to be a multi-millionaire, and then you can pretty much get all the money you want from this government, apparently, to even start up a ferry company that has no ferries and copies its terms and conditions from a takeaway restaurant. That, ladies and gentlemen, really is an absolute joke.